Okay, hello everyone. We're down to Module 6, the last module in the course, and I did want to spend some time talking about the social and ethical implications of information systems. We've talked about security in this module, but let's discuss this idea of social and ethical implications of information systems. And so we know that we've all benefited greatly from technological advances, both individually, organizationally, and societally, if that's a word. But at the same time, there have been consequences of this technology, these technology advances, oftentimes unanticipated, the result from new technologies. And so just for examples, some examples of this, the loss of privacy, that's becoming more and more of an issue through GPS tracking, big data applications. And only a few years ago, that it wasn't as big of a deal. For those of you who are, let's say, 50 years old, or you can see how this has really taken off as an issue. And so I think a lot of it started with the internet and things being out there online. So this is I would say, privacy has always been an issue to some extent, but it's certainly been elevated here with technology. Hacking, data breaches, identity theft. I would say the ubiquity of our digital footprints. In other words, our digital footprint is everywhere. A lot of people say that privacy's gone, but our data's out there, so it opens the door to more hacking, data breaches, and identity theft. There are issues associated with work-life balance. So, when you leave now from work, you have your mobile phone with you. So there's, I think, a blurred distinction between your work-life balance. I believe there's been a lot written about that. Cyber-terrorism. So now we have social media. Well, you have certain groups using social media to recruit people into their cause, and oftentimes for bad reasons. And so that's an issue we've seen. We have internet scams. We have there's thriving porn industry through the internet. The internet has enabled this. There's been a lot written on social interactions, so more and more people texting versus face-to-face interaction that's more traditional. There's been a lot written about smartphone addiction. We even have a faculty member here, Jim Roberts, in our marketing department, has written about smartphone addiction and its impact on relationships, even on romantic relationships. So public health. So this whole issue of texting while driving. And so I think the point is that a lot of these issues that now we're all familiar with, some of them didn't exist just a few years ago. And 5-10 years from now, there are going to be issues that come up that we're not even aware of that will at this point. So I think a key premise here is with new emerging technologies that are continually coming online. We've looked at the Gartner hype cycle. New emerging technologies will continue to change the way, misspelling there, the way we live, work, and interact at different levels, often in ways that are unanticipated. So this isn't going to abate. So we're going to have new technologies that do great things for us, but at the same time, I think there are going to continue to be unintended consequences that we have to deal with. You all as managers in this new digital age are going to have to deal with. So how do you deal with that? And I think along with this is, I think, probably the most important slide here in this deck here. I think fundamentally, this guy, Larry Downs, Harvard, he wrote a book, but it's based on this, he calls it the law of disruption, and I think it's very insightful. And basically it says that, technology changes exponentially, but our social, economic, political, and legal systems change incrementally in response. So essentially, these institutions, social, economic, political, and legal, these types of institutions really can't keep pace with technology. And that's just a fact. And that's not going to go away. That's not going to abate. And so the end result is that there's continually going to be conflict between these institutions and technology. So there's going to be a disconnect. So what are some examples? can we think of some concrete examples? Well, I have a few here. So 3D bioprinting. So 3D printing has been around for a while. It's maturing in the hype cycle, but in the medical profession, this is something that people are talking about. I mean, I've had my MBAs here on campus present on 3D bioprinting with the MBA healthcare program. So what are the ethical considerations of printing replacement body parts? Are there really any laws in place? Have bioethicists really thought through these implications? Let's talk about drone technology. Could drones potentially violate individual privacy or used for the wrong reason? Do we need new laws to be passed for this? How about the FAA? I'll bet they're concerned about drones. And then companies that want to launch drone services because they're cost effective for delivery, let's say in big cities. Does that need to be regulated? Do we need to develop there need to be new government agencies to regulate companies who want to use drone-based delivery services? So the point is the technology is here, the drone technology, but certainly I think our legal, our political institutions haven't really caught up. So, and the problem is when there's this disconnect between our institutions and the technology, Downs would say that sometimes we pass laws in knee-jerk fashion, laws that don't need to be passed, or maybe laws that are ineffective. You have the issue with autonomous vehicles and smart robots. And so are there going to be massive job losses due to this? Are we going to ultimately have to enact laws to protect workers from being replaced by smart machines or robots or autonomous vehicles? NSA surveillance. I think we're familiar with this with the Edward Snowden incident. And just to throw out there, so are big data techniques needed or necessary to protect society? So there's, it's kind of a gray area. So social media. Should employees be allowed to screen and eliminate job applicants based on their social media personas? Virtual reality. Virtual reality has some great potential, not only in entertainment but in other areas. But we're going to have to pass laws to, let's say, protect children from overuse and possible addiction. Another misspell there, to virtual worlds. So as Larry Downs would say, we have these new technologies that are quickly and rapidly coming on stream and going through this hype cycle. And the problem is we're having troubles as a society with our different institutions to keep up with these technologies. And so to boil it down, so what are some implications for you all as managers, in this 21st century? I think there are several things to keep in mind. Number one, I think keep in mind that there are going to be unforeseen consequences of technology. So, if you're rolling out a new technology in your work setting, try to anticipate any potential, particularly negative consequences before you deploy new technologies. Maybe have focus groups, but try to think through anything that maybe just it's unanticipated. And also keep the law of disruption in mind. So in many cases, you may be considering something with technology, possibly using drone technology, but there may not be any legal precedent regarding the appropriate uses or applications of the technology you're considering. So this, you could view this as an obstacle or as an opportunity for your company to set best practices in how you use the technology and to potentially influence the legal environment. And third, I would expect, with new technologies continually coming online, expect an ever-growing array of new ethical dilemmas. So with new technologies will come new types of ethical decisions and choices that are not always black and white. These are dealing with gray areas. And so expect that. That's going to be the world you live in. It is the world we live in. So I think these are just some of the management implications. When you talk about ethical decisions, why are they so difficult? And a couple things that came up were here. I think, number one, different people, different groups may have moral code or ethical lenses, so they don't see things the same. And oftentimes, ethical decisions dealing, with information ethics often involves two or more seemingly worthwhile, acceptable decisions. So the issue of right versus right, it's not a black and white right versus wrong, but right versus right. So from you're going to view a Target video. Target sent a coupon to a family, to a teenager to family for some pregnancy products, and she wasn't pregnant. The family was really outraged because they viewed that as a violation of the privacy rights, which I think they definitely had a position there. But on the same token, Target would argue that we have a right to be responsible to our stockholders, to be effective in our advertising, to analyze our data, and so forth. So what's the right decision there? The NSA monitoring, weighing the rights of society for protection versus the right of the individual. So, and certain decisions may be legal, but still considered unethical. So, I think the things you're going to have to think through as managers, when you're deploying technology or using technology in some way, this is kind of the easy. Well, it may not be the easy part, but is it legal? Or what we're doing is legal. And so, to the best of your ability, you want to understand if you're being legal, let's say, in how you're using a technology. As I mentioned earlier, there may not be legal precedent, because of the law of disruption. If you're dealing with a novel technology, there just may not be any standards in that yet. But let's say you can determine that, hey, we're using this technology legally, or we're doing something legally. And one of the cases we're going to look at, the dark side of customer analytics, the insurance company felt that they were doing something that was perfectly legal, but then there was a question of, is it acceptable by social norms? This is the gray area. Acceptable, another word would be, ethical. So, you could have, you could take some, make some decision or action with respect to technology that could be legal, but yet considered, unacceptable or maybe unethical. So, when companies send out high interest credit card offers to, sophomore age college students, well, they can legally do that. Is that type of marketing, is it acceptable? Is it ethical? So these are the things you're going to have to figure out, in the workforce, in this whole area of using technology and using it in a right way. But I think one of the key elements here, two key things to remember is number one, the technology is going to keep changing. So you're going to continue to have new types of ethical issues. And then secondly, the technology is going to pace ahead of our ability to adapt to it with these social, legal, political, and economic institutions. And so that's what's going to create conflict and ambiguity oftentimes in decision making. Final implication here for managers, for yourselves, is I think this course, since this course is about organizations, I think you need to think about, and a lot of organizations have done a good job with this, but think in terms of your own policies within organizations on what are your policies regarding information and the use of information, the use of customer information, the use of technology. And so this would be a sample of some of the different types of policies that you may already have or may want to consider having. And certainly you could pull up a textbook or articles and read more about these, but certainly there is a need for the development of policies within organizations to help ensure, you want to protect the company, but you also want to protect your customers and other stakeholders. It also reduces uncertainty for employees when you have policies, so it provides guidelines to them for decision making to help appropriate decision making. They make good decisions. So really the last slide here is, and I'll let you read through this, and there are different, you can look up any number of steps or models for ethical decision making. This particular one I like because it really forces you to get your act together, to get your ducks in a row, to identify the key stakeholders, what are the relevant issues, where's the conflict, and to get your facts together before making decisions. But certainly this, in this last module, I think we've talked a lot about the benefits of technology, but certainly there are social and ethical implications of technology, and so you all are going to have to, these are issues you're going to have to deal with as managers. So hopefully this has at least stimulated some of your thinking about this and developed an awareness of these types of issues that you'll face in the workplace. Thank you.